Okay folks, I don't know what this is. It is a mystery piece, you could say. Make it look really nice, hopefully. Okay, let's see what we have. We have here what appears to be a piece of cadmium-plated steel. That sparkly colour, lovely green, yellow and pink colour that we can utilise, make it look really nice. Hopefully it'll come up a treat. Yeah, that's come up really nice actually. Nice up close, and we're going to make this into a movement piece. Yeah, I don't know what it is, folks. Thing I find I hate about cadmium is that I heard that when it rusts, when that cadmium plating rusts, it becomes poisonous, it becomes toxic. I learned that when I was working at Xerox years ago when I was a technician, because we used to deal with cadmium plated parts in our photocopiers, and I was told that when it goes rusty, which I think, if I remember correctly, is a white appearance, like a powdery appearance, it's toxic. You've got to be careful not to put your fingers in your mouth, or you've got to wash your hands after touching it. And I'm always wary of touching this metal, even if it doesn't look rusty. Yeah, that's come up looking really quite nice actually. Going to do another version. Now that looks a bit shitty. Actually, that looks really quite like it could be used to make something. I don't know which version's the better version. I think in some ways that, and in some ways that. I'm going to do another one, see if I can get a better result, folks. But yeah, I'd like to redesign the photocopier from start to finish. I want to make the photocopiers a better design, something that lasts 60 years, the hardware. I want to make the hardware last like 60 years instead of only like typically 5 years, which is when the spare parts and consumables and servicing are typically discontinued by the manufacturer. And the machinery's got to be, the hardware's got to be made out of recycled materials instead of virgin materials that you find in mining. So you don't want to keep mining and mining, and you want to make sure that, yeah, that these equipments do last, and that also that the software is basically the part that gets updated not the hardware. So you got to consider that the software has got to be basically run by artificial intelligence, and that the factories, that the equipment doesn't come with all these, like, you know, for example, these bells and whistles like colour balance or copy density and all this. Oh yeah, you got to have copy density, but not all this fancy stuff. That's got to be created through creating apps. So having an app store like an iTunes or a what's the other one? Google Play, to buy various software packages or software programs, just like an iPhone or an Android phone. And basically, yeah, we can do that and make the machinery really customizable, and also to have software upgrades like on your phone, so that to make the system run smoothly. And it's got to have artificial intelligence at the heart of it. Even when the machine's not featured with all these bells and whistles, the artificial intelligence has got to control things like the density, or the enlargement and reduction, the double-sided copying and all that sort of shit. I don't know if it actually has to control the double-sided copying, except to maybe ascertain if you need it or not, instead of trying to manually work it out yourself. So there's a lot of improvements that need to be made to these systems to make them more easy to use and more pleasurable. And we're going to use less plastics. And basically, when we do manufacture our equipment, when we do source the materials, we're going to source them from the rubbish dumps and the e-waste dumps of the world, and even in Australia as well. But we're going to try and clean up places like China and India, who've been absolutely polluted because they've become a dumping ground for mostly Western countries, including Australia, I'd say as well, without being a total expert on what's not being an expert, should I say, with what happens in the dump of things, except to see that a lot of e-waste ends up in landfill or through incineration, which is not acceptable. It's wasteful, it's toxic, and it's not acceptable that people should live in this crap. And we've got to try to eliminate poverty in the world. And basically we've got to pay a high price for these raw materials to places like India and China, to give them heaps of incentive to clean the place up. And I really want to make a difference, folks. And basically, yeah. And even the getting back to the hardware of the photocopier, less plastic includes less plastic on the external panels, as well as using it generally. So wherever plastic only gets, in my rule book, plastic only gets used where plastic only can go, like in insulation, like wiring and plugs and sockets and shit like that. Anywhere materials like metal or ceramic or glass and other better materials than plastic can go, well, basically if there's nowhere else, no other materials available, we choose plastic as a last resort. We try to use less of it, and even the external panels are going to be really nice to look at. The chassis of the machine is going to be made out of titanium to make it last, to make it durable and lightweight. And the panels, again, we're getting back to the panels, sorry folks. They're going to be made out of materials like anodized aluminium, titanium, stainless steel, and even transparent aluminium called Alon. And basically we're going to make, I forgot to put the mirror image on, folks. So basically we're going to have plenty of colours available in the anodized aluminium versions of these panels. They're going to be arranged in like rainbow colours available, like all the different colours of the rainbow pretty much will be available. When you buy these equipments, you can choose your colours, and you can just have all these funky fashion statements with your equipment, but you can also still have like more conservative colour schemes, like this kind of colour or that kind of colour. Maybe powder coat aluminium could be utilised in that situation. So, you know, we've got to make a difference, and the actual workers are going to be paid more than what they're worth to create this wonderful dream machine. And basically we're going to make sure they don't get treated like slaves, and we're going to make sure they're paid more, did I say just a little bit more than what they're worth under normal circumstances. It's going to be a really environmentally friendly and all that sort of shit, this machinery. So got to make a difference, folks. Got to use your passion. I'm passionate about photocopiers. I'm what's known as a photocopier nerd or a toner head. A toner head is another word for a photocopier nerd, and these are the kinds of people we want working in our factory. Not money fuckers, not people who care about money. They've got to be fucking care about the product. They've got to care about the environment. They've got to care about humanity. That's the way it goes. And that's come up looking quite interesting. I think we can now call this demo quits.